Hello everyone and welcome to the first official episode of the Self Acceptance Diaries. Today's episode, I thought I would talk about turning 22. Being in your early 20s, just kind of my thoughts and feelings around it, other things I've heard people feeling. Ever since I turned 22, I knew I wanted to do this topic because I felt quite sad about being an adult, or mourning your teenage years when I hit 20, because for some reason I just felt that 20 wasn't a fun number. I don't know, 18's obviously a really fun number, everyone looks forward to their 18th. 19th, I don't really think I thought about it that much, and I was in lockdown. My 20th birthday was literally one of the best birthdays I've ever had, and I was it was really, really fun, but I just didn't like being 20. Now I kind of wish I was, but the age that I got excited for was then 21, because I felt like 20 had made me feel so much older. I was fuck, this isn't literally an adult now. 20, you are an adult. And I think that's why I was excited for 21, because for some reason 21 felt younger to me than 20. And obviously that's so stupid, but I think it's because of the whole culture around turning 21. Obviously not really in the UK. In America, obviously turning 21 is a big thing, and I just felt oh my god, 21's the new 18. It just sounds so silly to say, but maybe some of you can relate. I just didn't like the number 20 for some reason, and I was excited to turn 21. 21 was good, but I was in a relationship for the whole of being 21 and also half of being 20. But surprise, surprise, I am not in that relationship anymore. It's very fresh. It literally happened, I can't believe I'm saying this, I don't even want to talk about it but yeah, it literally happened a few weeks ago, so it's very fresh, and it's why I've not started this series properly, because obviously that's been not great, and I've not really been wanting to speak about, I don't know, I've just not been wanting to come on camera. Last few days I have been really thinking about where this new chapter of my life and where I want to go and what I want to do. To me, 22 is just such an awkward age, because, and I wrote this down in my notes yesterday actually, but one thing I feel a lot of us do at this age, especially your early 20s, is really compare yourself to people on social media, everyone around you, at what stage they're at in their life. 22 is an age where it's literally not comparable. I mean, you shouldn't compare yourself to anyone at any age, honestly. Everyone is on their own timing, everyone is on their own path, and I'm sure you've heard that before. But in your early 20s especially, you then have that pressure of being an adult now, but you still feel you're no different. And I think that's, if you're younger watching this, as you get older, you definitely realise that adults are just kids in adults' bodies. This is everyone's first time living. Also, I saw a quote the other day, and obviously I knew this, but just it hit really, I was whoa. And it was this is your parents' first time living too. And I was fuck. Because obviously we all know that, but to actually think about that, they are still having all of their firsts. They are experiencing the age they're at for the first time, and that's going to be a constant. And I think that's one of the really exciting parts about getting older. I just feel there's just this, when you say getting older, there just seems to be a negative, I think we've always been told that there's this negative connotation, is that the right word, surrounding it, because it's everyone's goal is to stay youthful and stay looking young, and then because of that we then see aging as a bad thing, when it is such a blessing. It is the biggest blessing you can have, and just such an amazing thing. And I just really tried to remind myself of that when I'm feeling a bit behind, because recently what I meant earlier about 22 being an awkward age, you're still at that age where you kind of want to be such a free spirit, be immature in a way, you want to be able to mess up and make mistakes and not care about the consequences, but at the same time you're also past that. Why the fuck did my voice go like that? at the same time you're almost past that. For example, with me, just getting out of a relationship, there's a big part of me that wants to like go out drinking, meet new people and do things that maybe I'll regret, like, but then there's also a huge part of me that, one, that's never really been my sort of personality anyway. I'm kind of a granny. I just want to go to a coffee shop or a cafe or a bookstore, bookshop, and or look around the charity shops and have a little mooch. Like, mooching is my favourite thing to do in the whole world. Have a more chill night and then have a routine and go to sleep early, which, to be fair, I've never done ever. But at the moment I'm approaching the mindset of just having everything in balance and just kind of do what I want to do. And I think that is the freedom you get at our age. I'd say between 20 and 25. But then again, I don't want any like 26-year-olds to watch this and then like think, fuck, like I'm not 25 anymore, like my time limit is up. Like, the whole point that I'm trying to make is that there just shouldn't be any time limits. For me personally, putting that pressure on myself actually means that I don't progress. If anything, I go backwards because I stress about things too much, like career, for example. I don't have a career. I'm 22 and like when I was younger I thought I would have a career by now, and I don't know a single person my age with like a career. At this age, everyone is doing something completely different. We're not all in school anymore. We're not all at uni. Like, a few of my friends from home are working full time. All of my best friends from home went to uni and then dropped out because it just wasn't for them. They're like gonna do something else that they're really interested in. And it's definitely an age where we should embrace things not going to plan and stuff like that, but there just is such a pressure to like get everything right the first time you do it. I have this thing where I'm terrified of applying for jobs because I'm terrified I'm not going to get the job. So like, I'm scared of failure basically, and being scared of failure has held me back from so many things. It's like made me underachieve on purpose sometimes, because if I give it my absolute all and that's not enough, then I don't want to deal with how that feels. So if I give it a really good effort but I know I've not given it my full on effort, then I'm not going to be as heartbroken when I don't get the result. Sorry, I don't know why my camera just died. Also, the lighting's a bit... To be honest, it's such a grey day today, so it's kind of getting dark outside, but obviously my fear of failure is probably a big thing I need to work on. Honestly, recording this and like putting these episodes out is definitely, I'm fighting against those fears. Also, me being at uni is fighting against those fears. Like, I feel like I am trying to like combat it. Yeah, like, what is failing? Like, I've got up, got ready today and sat down and filmed this. Like, that's not a fail. Like, that's a win. Do you get what I mean? Like, I think we need to give ourselves more credit. I feel like this has turned into a therapy session. Let me have a look at my phone for more points about being in your 20s. My point was not to compare yourself to other people, even though it's so easy to do, but everyone is at a different stage in life always, but especially at this age. You could have someone at 22 with 2 kids. You could have someone at 22 graduating uni. You can have someone just about to start uni. One of my friends is literally, she's 20 and she's just started a course at college. I started uni at 20. Don't feel like you have to do things by a certain age, especially when it comes to education as well, because that's one thing that I feel like my friends now would agree with me on, probably. Don't know. And I don't think they regret their uni experience at all. Like, I think it brought so much value to their life and they loved when they were there. So I think so many people go to uni just because they don't know what else to do. But also, if you have done that, don't beat yourself up about it, because at the end of the day, it's all a life experience. Like, it's okay to start uni and then realise it's not for you. And it doesn't mean that you failed at it, it just means that you don't want to do it anymore. I never thought I would go to uni. It wasn't something that I had even thought about, because I think it's because I had like so much going on in my head when I was younger. Like I wasn't even really thinking about my future. Like I was just very much in the past and sometimes in the present, but I just never thought about uni until I went to college and did an art foundation, and then we got shown all of these art universities, and I was like, oh my god, like I can go to uni and do a creative subject that I love. Like, oh my god, count me in. I might just read out what I put on my notes, because I put episode 1 turning 22. I feel like this would be a good first episode because I feel like I'm going to cover quite a few topics. I definitely have, probably, which I could then go into. In many ways I still feel 16, others I feel 20 or 21, but any age older than that I can't quite comprehend. I think around 18 or 19 was when I went through the time of mourning my childhood and feeling resentment towards getting older. But since then, I've had a mind shift, and I truly think of aging as a huge blessing. I'm cringing myself out, but it's true, guys, it's true. When you are feeling like you're getting older and like you want to just be younger again, I was feeling like this, and I feel like everyone kind of feels like that with each birthday that goes past. But I was looking through old photos and I saw pictures of my mum when she was pregnant with me, and I was like, oh my god, like she looked like a baby, like so young. But she was 30, 31, I think, 32. She looked so young, like so young. And I was like, oh my god, like she was 32, that's 10 years from now for me. Like she was still really young. It's just crazy. I just also like, time goes by so slowly. Why is that in my head? It just goes by so quick. Like I think that's what scares me, is that the older I've gotten, the quicker time has gone as well. When I was a child, like it just felt like I didn't really comprehend time. I didn't really like think like a year's gone past, or when I did, like a year actually felt like a long time. But now a year to me feels like 6 months ago. And I was speaking to my parents about that, and my dad was like, Alice, it gets worse, like it gets worse. And I was like, please don't say that, Dad, because I'm hoping that I've reached the point now where it's the quickest that it feels, and it's not going to go any quicker, because the thought of it going quicker really scares me, because just everything is going by in a flash. But then I also read somewhere that the reason time feels like that when you're younger is because you're learning so many new things and experiencing things you've never experienced before. So I'm taking that as we should still try our best to do that now, like experience so many things we've never experienced before, go see places, like just be more spontaneous and really embrace doing new things, even if that's like reading a new book or doing some sort of new hobby like pottery, or just literally anything, but anything that you've not really done before, and you're creating these new memories is gonna hopefully make you feel like you've got more time in a way. Because I think when you do that, when you look back at like the year you've had, it then feels longer because you've done more things in it, if that makes sense. I'm worried I'm just talking complete bullshit, honestly. Oh, I also wrote down, I put, being older doesn't mean you can't romanticize your life as if you're a teenager. Age is just a number and you're never behind. We really romanticize being a teenager, that whole era of life. And I think as nice as that is, we can romanticize our early 20s, and then we can romanticize our late 20s, and then our early 30s, and we can just try and romanticize each phase of life instead of really trying to grasp on to being a teenager, because we aren't ever going to get that back. But what is it about being a teenager that we're missing? Because if anything, well, in many ways we have more freedom now, but in a lot of ways we don't. But like, personally for me, I am a lot happier as an adult than I was as a teenager. Being a teenager is so tough, and teenagers do not get enough credit, and I just feel like when teenagers are like going through stuff, people are like, oh, they're just a teenager. But to that teenager, that is their world and that is their life. And I remember being that age, and obviously not everything is an age thing. You can go through horrific things that also like contribute to it, but I just feel like if you go through those things as a child or as a teenager, you don't yet have the tools to cope with them as much as you would as an adult. Because for me personally, and I hope this is the same, I mean it won't be the same for everyone, but for me personally, life has got easier the older I get. But I don't mean in the sense of that like nothing bad's happened. If anything, like the worst things that have happened to me have happened to me in my 20s. However, the older you get, the more experience you have and the more like tools your brain has to handle things, if that makes sense. Like, even though things are really scary and really terrifying, the older you get, the more experiences you have in the past that have been horrific in the moment, but you know that you got through them eventually. And the older you get, the more that happens. So it's almost a bit like with anxiety, like the more you expose yourself to, let's say you have social anxiety. Actually, I'm gonna speak from my experience. I really struggle to like go outside on a walk by myself. Even though it's something I really want to do, I get so anxious about doing it, and some days are better than others. The more I do it, the easier it gets, genuinely, like, because I'm training my brain that I'm gonna be okay each time I do it, which I think is called exposure therapy. I am also terrified though that like, what if something bad does happen whilst I'm on these walks and then it ruins everything? But you can't think like that. I just feel like, also I'm gonna eventually do a whole video on like body image and how your body changes from like when you're younger to when you're older. I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about that, and like a lot of stuff I could talk about on that topic. Yeah, I feel like that could be a whole... Sorry, there's a car outside on my... Do you hear it? But yeah, I feel like that could be like definitely a whole separate video. Oh god, I've been talking for so long and I'm worried I've not even spoke about everything I wanted to speak about. Sometimes it feels like I knew more when I was younger than I do now. Not all the time, because I know that that's not true, but like, if you know, you know, that Taylor Swift line. Do I say it? It's, how can a person know everything at 18 but nothing at 22? And I really relate to that line, because feeling like you've got your... How do I even explain this? It's so hard to explain, but I feel like if you've felt it, you know. But there's just certain things that when I was younger, I feel like I knew the answers to, and I don't now. Or like, in some ways I feel like I've stepped back. For example, I used to find it so easy, like, this isn't like a really deep one, obviously, this is like a lighter one, but I used to find it so easy to talk to a camera and be quite like high energy, and like a lot of my old videos are still on my channel, and I was just very like upbeat, and I still am like that, but I'm not like that all the time anymore. Like, I'm definitely like, I am like that a lot, but I have also mellowed down quite a bit. At 18, like, I was so sure of myself. I was very opinionated and I felt very educated on so many topics. Recently, I kind of just got to a point where I was like, I don't know anything. I'd really lost that like confidence in my beliefs and opinions, and that is really not like me, like, at all. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm quite headstrong, is that the right sense? And I do think I still am, but I think, and I'm hoping it's normal to feel like that, but just to feel like yourself changing and not knowing whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, because being quite opinionated and sticking up for what I believe in and stuff like that was a character trait that I really, really liked about myself. And I am still like that, but I think I've toned it down with expressing my opinions to others, just because I've learned that not everyone wants to hear them. and I was quite like not forceful with my opinions, but I really wanted people to understand. And for example, like talking about homophobia and like racism and topics that I'm so like passionate about, I've learned that I can't express my opinions in a I'm right, you're wrong sort of way, which I definitely was like when I was younger. And it's so hard when you're so passionate about equal rights and stuff, and I'm obviously still very, very passionate about it. But I think the way that I communicate it is in a lot more, I mean, when I've had a few drinks in me, I go straight back to being quite gobby sometimes. I just think I'm a lot more delicate with how I approach things, because sometimes things can come off, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of chatting shit, to be honest. But yeah, I just felt like I'd lost that side of me that I really did like, and being not even like on the serious notes of like beliefs and stuff, but also just like my personality. I am someone that like, well, I used to be, that like skipped down the street and I was just really bubbly and really happy. And it was actually really nice recently. My housemate called me bubbly, and I was like, that is so nice, because I've not heard that in a while. And I don't know the reasons for it. I feel like I'm getting myself back. Oh my god, is my battery about to die? I've been charging it. Okay, I'm just gonna talk really quick. I feel like I have been getting myself back, and I don't know if it's getting older or things that I've experienced recently, or like friendships and relationships that maybe weren't good for me, or just like different life situations, or even like traumatic things can that do that to you? I don't even know. I feel like I'm just speaking nonsense, and I'm worried that this is not going to be a good episode. As cringy as it is, I did also put, it's okay to feel like you've lost yourself. It usually means you're progressing and growing. Even when you feel like you've gone back, it doesn't mean that you've gone back. Even though it can feel like it definitely does not mean that. And I put, my teenage self saved me today. She is who made me who I am today, and I'm so grateful that she didn't give up. God, this is getting quite deep, guys. I'm so sorry. My camera's gonna stop any second. It's getting really dark outside, which means that this ring light looks kind of harsh. Oh I just remembered that I can like turn it up and down, so I could have made the lighting better, but it's too late now. But I think that was pretty much everything. I know it wasn't very structured. Oh my god, I completely forgot. I made a whole list of things I was gonna include in this, and it says 22 things I've learned at 22, and then it says to my past self, to my present future self. But this is a lot of stuff on here. Okay, maybe I should just run through them instead of giving them an explanation each time. To my past self, number 1, that things really do get better, I promise. Is it cringe? Yeah. Is it true? Yeah. 2, you are not as ugly as you think you are. Looking back at old pictures and actually liking how you look, even when you hated them at the time. This is something I'm really guilty of, and I'll definitely go. Also, my mouth's really dry, so I feel like I'm worried it's picking up on the mic. Yeah, that is definitely something I will go into more detail in a future episode, how you view yourself and stuff. Number 3, feelings are only temporary. When you're feeling at the lowest point possible, you've been here before and you made it out before. Sit with it and trust that it will pass, which is honestly a key bit of advice I could give anyone, is that it is so difficult to like sit within your pain, but you just have to trust that you will not feel like this forever, and it's always true. It's always true. Even though it feels like you will, you definitely won't, and I promise you, even if you feel 1% better tomorrow, it's still better than before. Let go of other people's expectations of you. No one is judging, and if they are, it's literally for a split second before they're then consumed within their own lives again. You're the main character of your story, not theirs. You're not as relevant in their life as you think you are. This may seem like, oh my god, I'm like, no one's thinking about me. But this is so freeing, knowing that people don't care as much as you think they do, especially about how you look. Like, literally no one cares, genuinely. Realising this means you're free to focus on yourself, and the right people will end up surrounding you, which is like, if you're being your most authentic self and not really caring what other people think of you, if they then don't like you, then that's good, because that means they won't be in your life, and you don't want people around you in your life that don't like you for you. I put only surround yourself with people who genuinely have your best interest at heart. We don't want jealous friends. We also don't want to feel threatened by our friends' successes. Be happy for them truly. You'll have your time. If you notice yourself feeling jealous of someone, take time to sit with yourself and figure out why you're jealous of them and where it comes from, and then work on bettering that part of yourself. I think I might go into more detail about that in another episode, and I might call it like female friendships or something like that, because I do think that's really, really important. So my camera died and I've charged it really quickly, so there's definitely not enough camera battery to carry on, but also I know that this is going to be a really long video anyway, so I'm not going to go through the rest of the things on my notes. I think what I'm going to do is like, oh my god, I thought someone was watching me then. That scared me. I think what I'm going to do is pick out things that I didn't speak about, and then I'll just talk about them in a future video. Like I said at the start, I just feel like talking about being 22 is very broad. Like there's so many topics that you could go into within that. So yeah, if you've made it this far, thank you very much. I'll actually be very shocked. But yeah, I'm so excited. This is the first episode. Also, I'm really sorry if I've noticed that I keep going into an American accent. It's because me and my friends do it as like a joke, and it's become a really, really bad habit of mine. And it's just really cringe, and I mean, I just am cringy and I am awkward, so I just need to accept that and stop apologising for it. But sorry if this video... I was like, stop apologising. Sorry if this video has been really, really rambly. If you have any feedback about the audio, the lighting, it was really, really dark today, which is why I had to go for my ring light, but usually I do natural lighting. But yeah, if you have any topic suggestions, I would be so grateful and happy if you left a topic suggestion in the comments, or feel free to DM me on the Self Acceptance Diaries Instagram. I've basically just been posting behind the scenes stuff on there, and also just like daily updates and stuff like that. So hopefully when I get a few more episodes out, I can post like a few short clips on there. I was also planning on doing that on my TikTok as well, which is also the Self Acceptance Diaries. But yeah, I need to figure out how to get this onto TikTok without, because obviously I'm filming this landscape. It's probably really simple. Again, thank you so much for watching and listening. If you watched and listened the whole way through, I'll be shocked. I'm kind of just expecting people to just listen to it like it's a podcast. One of my favourite things to do is listen to podcasts or videos in the background when I'm like doing things around the house. I think I'm gonna go now, but this has made me really excited to finally get the ball rolling, get started, and I can already tell like I'm a lot more like higher energy now than I was at the start. I just feel a lot more comfortable now, whereas before I was really nervous. But yeah, I honestly am thinking, do I just film the next video later on today? Who knows? But yeah, if you have any topic suggestions, anything, leave a comment below. Feel free to message me on Instagram, because I would really appreciate it, and it would be really nice to hear some of your feedback. But yeah, I'm gonna go now. Who knows how long this video is gonna be. Bye!